Alright, number 5. The fifth most underrated Pokemon. Shuckle! Yeah, Shuckle! I love Shuckle! Shuckle is the freaking turtle, man. Shuckle is awesome. Shuckle is a turtle-like Pokemon that is actually, it's type bug and rock. And it's kind of a tiny Pokemon. Imagine like a round shell, kind of like a turtle shell or something. That it had like little appendages sticking out, almost like I don't know, like a weird snail kind of like Pokemon. But Shuckle is very interesting to me because Shuckle doesn't have very high stats except for defense and special defense. So it's got really low hit points, it's got really low life, very low attack, special attack, very low speed, extremely slow Pokemon. Don't expect Shuckle to hit first unless it has Quick Claw. But its main advantage, of course, is the extremely high special defenses and physical defenses, making it into a powerhouse tank. This is the ultimate tank Pokemon. You know why? Because it's not only is it type bug and rock, meaning that with the bug resistance to fighting types, it makes fighting types just normal against this Pokemon. So the rock weakness is kind of, it evens out. Its only real weakness is water-type attacks. Now, I know there's a huge abundance of water-type attacks out there, but it's got extremely high special defenses, and if you know how to use Shuckle right, you will go a long way with Shuckle. I've used Shuckle back in the day, back in a battle tower, and he's very reliable, extremely powerful when used properly. Give it like Toxic, mixed with Protect, mixed with Sandstorm, and Rest or something. I mean, it's a complete, total powerhouse. It can totally catch your opponent off guard. It drains the life of your opponent very slowly, one step at a time. But it's such a tank. It is such a hard Pokemon to kill. So Shuckle, very underrated Pokemon. Extremely defensive Pokemon. Number 4, the 4th most underrated Pokemon. Quagsire! Yeah, Quagsire! Now, Quagsire came out in the 2nd generation. He's actually an evolved form of, that weird-looking, I'm forgetting its name, but Quagsire is the evolved form of, it's like a combination of ground and water, which was kind of bizarre at that time. We've never seen anything like it. It had good attack, it had good defense, and it had great HP. It had great hit points. So it's a very solid physical Pokemon. Now, I know with a combination of ground and water, it makes it twice as weak towards grass-type Pokemon, So any powerful grass-type attack, such as a Solar Beam, or even a Razor Leaf, can probably decimate Quagsire. But Quagsire is extremely useful against electric type Pokemon, because first of all it's got the immunity, it's got the ground type immunity. So you're talking about a very rare kind of combination where the water type is totally immune to the otherwise special effective electricity attacks. So that's very interesting in itself. Honestly, you should just treat Quagsire as a physical, like, ground, it might as well be some kind of a pure ground Pokemon, except it's type water as well, so it can learn, Surf and all those other attacks, but I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, give it like, Earthquake or something like that, that would really utilize Quags. It's just an underrated Pokemon, because it's very rare. First of all, its actual type, the other Pokemon that has this combination is probably just Wishcash and its other form. But Quagsire, interesting Pokemon. It's a good physical Pokemon, especially against other rock types and ground types and fire types especially. I mean, you're talking about a guy who is who's got immense advantage over fire-type Pokemon. So I would say Quagsire can be the ultimate anti-fire Pokemon. Alright. Number 3, the 3rd most underrated Pokemon, Politoed. Ah, yeah, Politoed. Come on. Politoed is the evolution of, well, it's actually the fourth evolution in the lineup of the Poly family. So, you got Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath in the first generation. And then, you got Politoed in the second generation. What you had to do was you had to trade it to another cartridge equipped with the King's Rock. And that's how it evolves. So, I can expect that not everybody has access to this Pokemon. It's kind of a harder Pokemon to get, but once you have it, it's a pretty damn good Pokemon because, it's got very good special defenses, it's got great hit points, and great special attack. It's got pretty good speed, so, it is a pure water Pokemon, so, kind of maintaining that water lineage as opposed to the Poliwrath turning into a dual water/fighting Pokemon. So Politoed is kind of it's become kind of like the pure water marine type Pokemon. And I mean, I know there's an abundance of water type Pokemon out there, but Politoed is number one. It's interesting. Its design is pretty damn cute. It's got that squiggly like curly thing that it has for a hair, which is it gets bonus points for cuteness. And it's an interesting Pokemon. It's a little frog-like Pokemon. And, it's unique. I mean, it's different from a fish, having, so many different fish Pokemon out there that, I mean, it makes Politoed, even more underrated because, you never see him in the games. You never do. Alright, the second most underrated Pokemon, number 2, Pinsir. Oh, yeah, Pinsir. Come on. Pinsir is a pure bug-type Pokemon. Very rare as far as bug Pokemon go. Usually bug Pokemon tend to be, dual type, such as your bug and flying, and bug and grass. Pinsir is a pure bug Pokemon. It's stats. Look at its stats. It's got good speed for a bug Pokemon, and it doesn't really look that fast. I know, because I mean, look at it. It's a freaking beetle-like, stag beetle Pokemon. But it's got very high attack, physical attack, one of the highest in the game actually. Great defense, it's a very defensive type Pokemon. So, you're talking about a pretty decent powerhouse physical attacker here, right here. Pinsir is probably one of the most underrated bug Pokemon there is. I think it's largely because of Scyther, Pinsir was only available in the blue version back in the first generation, and Scyther was available in the red version. Now, obviously, Scyther was a lot more popular because you're talking about this cooler looking, this green, badass looking, ferocious, flying mantis type Pokemon with razor sharp scythes for its arms. Scyther was really cool. And, technically, Scyther was more powerful because Scyther had more speed. But, Pinsir ended up kind of getting somewhat, it kept it under Scyther's shadow. But Pinsir is still a very powerful Pokemon, great powerhouse. It can still go toe-to-toe with, newer bug Pokemon, like Heracross, and, the Scyther and the Scizors. So Pinsir, very underrated bug Pokemon. And, last but not least, number 1. The most underrated Pokemon, probably of all time, Tauros. Ah, yeah, Tauros. The bull Pokemon, the wild bull Pokemon of the first generation. Now, y'all remember Tauros. Tauros was the Pokemon that could be found at the Safari Zone. Very hard to capture, very hard to catch. I remember him in the anime too. Ash supposedly had like 100 of them, but he never used a single one. Not that I can recall anyway in the anime. But as far in the games, it had, first of all, it had great attack. It's a very great physical attacker. It had great speed, tremendous speed. Very fast Pokemon. You can expect that from a hooved Pokemon. One of those four-legged running Pokemon. It's got great defense and pretty damn good hit points and special defenses. So you're talking about an overall very strong Pokemon. And guess what? It's a single Pokemon too. It's a non-evolutionary. It's just Tauros, and that's it. That's what's great about this Pokemon, and very underutilized. It can learn really strong physical moves from other types like Earthquake and Rock Slide. So Tauros was ultimately one of the most powerful, not only one of the most powerful normal type Pokemon out there, but just a very underutilized, underrated Pokemon. you know, a great Pokemon. Not enough people use this. I wish the Tauros was, you know, could be found in like in the Elite Four. You know, the Elite Four never used a Tauros. You know, I was just waiting for a Tauros to pop out, but that's what, you know. I think that's part of Taurus's appeal, is that like not a lot of supposedly great powerful trainers use Tauros, but Tauros, you know, when used to its full potential, is a total powerhouse and one of the most underrated Pokemon of all time.